Hey guys, you're watching Guitar Part.
Marshall vient de réaliser une tête d'ampli sur mesure pour monsieur Kerry King, guitariste émérite au look et au style débridé, qui font le bonheur de Slayer depuis de nombreuses années. C'est ainsi que Kerry s'est plié au jeu des questions-réponses, avant que Mick Baucott, chef de produit pour la firme anglaise, ne se lance dans une présentation détaillée de ce Marshall 2203 Kerry King signature. Enlève tes lunettes, man.
Well, the new head's based on JCM 800, and that's what I played before I had a signature amp. So what I went to Marshall and said was, how can we make a head to where once it goes into production, I can be anywhere in the world, and if my gear doesn't show up, I can go to a music store and plug right into it and get my sound. That's what we've done. It's got a built-in gate, it's got a built-in knob that takes the place of my EQ. And with those two things, I can play a show. If I had a, say I had a Crybaby in that head, I could do a show. It just works for me. I mean, I've used that since, not sure about the first record, but definitely the second record. We've used it ever since. Jeff still has it in his rig. I had it in my rig till the new head came out. So now, we still have them in my rig. They're not on, but just in case we have to revert to something, they're still there.
Hi, my name is David Beckham, a famous football player. Welcome to Guitar Part, good magazine. We're here to talk about this thing behind me, the Kerry King signature amplifier by Marshall, the 2203 KK. Kerry King is, of course, a famous country guitar player. No, I'm kidding. He is, of course, the face of Slayer. A band who not only created a genre, they created the sound behind the genre. It's their house, they built it, they own it. If you try and play their music, you're visiting their house as a guest. When they ask you to leave, you leave because they're better than you are. Kerry's used Marshall for 20 plus years. Slayer are one of the finest martial lads to ever walk this planet. They always take 24 cabinets on stage, God bless them. And this amplifier is a tribute to that dedication and also his unique sound. Kerry's always used the 2203. He owns a bunch of them, but he has one favorite he calls the Beast. It was made in 1986. It's slightly different to his other ones, so we measured the components within it because it hasn't been modified, it's just got some component drifts. We duplicated it exactly, and the result is this thing here. Ignoring this section here, which is called the Beast and gives you Kerry's unique sound, this amplifier by itself is an amazingly great mid-80s sounding JCM 800 2203. It has KT88 power tubes, meaning it's got high headroom and also nice big fat girth, both of which are good for Kerry. I'm going to let you hear the amplifier very quickly at low volumes without the Kerry King magic in, just so you can hear just how good of a sound the amplifier is, just as a 2203. It's got that usual punch you in the chest sound that made the JCM 800 such a popular amplifier. Now, Kerry King's sound is not created by this and his wonderful hands and his demonic riff writing abilities alone. He does something very weird and wonderful to the front end of the amplifier. To be exact, he uses a 10-band graphic EQ. Now, most people wrongly think that when you're playing music like Slayer's, you suck the mids out. They call it the mid scoop, creating like a smiley face. That's utter nonsense when it comes to Slayer. And when you think about it, you can't have a smiley face within Slayer. It has to be a frown. And that's exactly what Kerry and Jeff Hanneman do. They boost the mids with a very specific curve that we've copied exactly, and he also boosts the signal itself. We've built that into the front of the amplifier, and we've named it Assault. In fact, Kerry came up with that name because he's a smart guy. And we've made it variable. So you can literally alter the intensity of the Assault, and the Assault is a great name for it because it is a sonic assault. Now, when you put this kind of front-end gain in front of an amplifier which has already got a nice crunch to it, you add a noise problem. And for music like Slayer's, sometimes the deathly silence, no pun intended, in between the chord stabs are equally as important as the chords themselves. So we've put a professional noise gate in here with a threshold control, and it works here and here, keeping a real tight clamp on the sound. So I'm going to let you quickly hear that. This is the amp. Kerry King app, the 2203 KKK. Perfect for country and jazz music. Get one today. Thank you for listening. Buy the magazine again. It's a fine publication. See ya!
Well, the funny thing is, it's not like one of those things like I went somewhere and I said, I gotta play guitar. It wasn't like that. My dad, I was the youngest child and I was the only boy, so he was trying to keep me out of, circles I shouldn't be in, different. He was trying to keep me away from the bad crowd, so he gave me an option of like doing karate, playing guitar or something else, and he had a guitar laying around. I'm like, I'll try that, and it worked. I think it was just, I took lessons for a year from a real teacher, and just, figuring out how things work, because I was sitting in my lesson one day, and I remember this, like I hit a false harmonic with my pick, and, I'm like, what did I do? Because I didn't know what it was. And he's like, oh, you just hit your string with your pick, and I'm like, is that good? And he's like, well, it depends. It's just stuff you got to learn. Now everybody squeals with their pick. I try not to because everyone does. I do it here and there, but I don't rely on it. But that's just a story from way back then. That it's just stuff you got to learn. I thought I did something wrong, and I, in a sense, did do something wrong, but it's part of playing. It's awesome. We're playing, the last time we toured, like a month ago, we were playing 4 new songs. When we come back for festivals this summer, depends how long we're playing as to how many new songs we'll play, but in the States, starting in July, I think we're going to be playing 5 new songs, because we haven't played Fleshstorm yet, and that's going to be like the opener when we come back out. It's just Slayer, we don't evolve. We don't have to evolve, we're like the AC/DC of thrash metal. That's what we do. It's hard to say. There's a lot of good stuff out there,
The worst?
There's a lot of those too. Man, I think Arch Enemy on their last album the guitar player, they were just unleashed. It was awesome. I think they did a great job. I saw them at NAMM in LA like a year ago, January, and I went up to the dude and I'm like, man, your record's awesome. I think you guys are great. And I don't know if he was ready for me to say that, because he looked at me and like didn't really say anything. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you, But I think that record's awesome. I think now that Angela's had 2 records, I think she did a better job. I think it was awesome. And, I could say that about a lot of bands, but I'll pick that one.